We are back. It is Monday, the best day of the week for traders. Super excited to break down the market, to break down what's going on. So, if you're here already, I appreciate it. Ashley, good morning. Ian, good morning. I appreciate you guys being here. A lot of stuff happened over the weekend, which sometimes happens, sometimes doesn't happen. But I mean, I guess it's good for us. It gives us all sorts of fun things to look at. Thomas, good morning. I appreciate you guys being here. A bunch of headline news. I think we've got a potential government reopening. Crypto ripped over the weekend, especially yesterday on Sunday. It did really, really well. So we're going to break everything down. I pinned a message in the chat. The most interesting question, we're going to do something a little bit different today. The most interesting question that's asked today wins a 3-step 5K challenge. So rather than, spamming the chat, be number one, be number two, number three, somebody who asked, a really interesting question, it doesn't have to be groundbreaking, but an interesting question will win that account. So first things first, let's take a look at the headline numbers for what's going on. Bitcoin up 1.64%. I mean, the market's only opening in half an hour. So pretty big move over the weekend. We ended last week at like 103-ish maybe. So we're back up over 106. Gold absolutely ripping higher. I mean, this is actually the first time that I'm noticing gold 2.20%. So that is crazy on gold, approaching 4,100. So that's doing really, really well. Really well. Pound CAD pretty flat. S&P futures 0.83%. So again, we have these risk on vibes across the board. Everything is moving higher. The Nikkei, the Japanese stock market, still above 50,000, up 1%. Aussie yen. Remember, the yen is a safe haven currency and the Australian dollar is a risk on currency. So the move that we're seeing in Aussie yen is absolutely classic. It's exactly what you would expect to happen. And same thing with the USD CAD, actually. A little bit of a sell-off in the dollar versus the CAD. I want to pull up Aussie yen because it might be an interesting chart to take a look at. It's a 15-minute chart. So just a massive rally here. If we go on the 1 hour, I would probably look for some sort of pullback. I like this here. The risk on vibes are strong. I'd want some sort of pullback, maybe down to, this 38, the 100 level. And I mean, that's such a nice psychological level. So that's where the trade's going to be for me on this guy. Boom, 100.0, 38 fib, all sorts of moving averages. So we'll be looking at this one pretty closely. Maybe a little prop firm challenge trade to take on that guy, but we'll clean that up. I had that right there. So Aussie yen is rallying. Coinbase 4.7%. So Friday was a really interesting day. And we're going to take a look right now. So Friday, we've got mood swings, we've got stimulus checks, we've got pound pain. We'll talk about the pound, what's going on with that. I want to give you guys a market recap. There wasn't as many, headline news events that happened on Friday. So I thought it was a good opportunity to just discuss a market recap of, hey, what's going on? Maybe you haven't been reading the Pip Munch emails every morning. Maybe you haven't been joining the live streams. So let's just kind of have a high level overview of where we're at. Bank of America is back. This one's crazy after 16 years. Expedia and Snapchat will look at those stocks, and then Bitcoin's weekly chart almost in trouble. So like I said, Friday on the live stream, it was crazy. Everything was tanking. Everything was down. But then by the end of the day, we had a huge rally. So it was just a complete 180. On Friday, things were looking nasty. And then, for no necessarily particular reason, things just turned around. So markets have full-blown mood swings. You can see here some of the stocks on Friday, 2% for Google. That was a pretty big loss. 3.6% for Tesla. Not great. But we had a lot of green in consumer defensive, industrials, energy, even healthcare, financial had some green. So basically, the market pulled a 180 on Friday. What's on the deck this week? Okay, so remember last week, just to recap, so much back and forth. Okay, so we had the ADP jobs report, which looked strong. The ADP jobs report was actually quite good. However, on whatever day it was, I mix up all my days. we had a different October jobs report, which had the largest layoffs in October since 2003. So again, I'm saying it every morning. We're in this situation right now where we're starting to see cracks in the economy. We're getting good news, but bad news, and that's why we're getting that whipsaw movement in the market. So again, over 80% of S&P 500 companies have beat market expectations or have beat earnings expectations. But then again, we're seeing these things of companies laying off, thousands, tens of thousands of employees, Amazon, UPS, all sorts of companies. So that's why we're getting this whipsaw kind of movement. Now, in terms of headline pieces this week, there's not that much going on. Disney reports on earnings, which on Wednesday, which could move consumer sentiment, right? If people stop buying $30 Goofy hats and $18 churros, we could expect a sell off. And then again, it's really just the AI bubble watch. So Palantir has been getting roasted since Michael Burry shorted it. He had some puts on Palantir, and you can see here in the last 5 days, it's down 13%. So that's what's going on with that. Taking a look at the chat here, Ashley says, "What is your take on Hydra funding?" I know nothing about Hydra funding. Hydra funding is yeah, I know absolutely nothing about them. But we could take a look at them. Let me go through the email. I see a lot of good questions here. So somebody's asking about Lark 3.0, upcoming news this week. So these are all good questions. I'll go through the email and then one by one, I'll go through all of them so we don't have quite as much back and forth. So it just makes a little bit more sense. So I'll just cover all the good stuff. This one's huge. This one's actually a really important one. Trump promises $2,000 tariff dividend. This was yesterday. This was on Sunday. People that are against tariffs are fools. We are now the richest, most da da da. So, anyways, he says record investment in the U.S. A dividend of at least $2,000 a person, not including high income people, will be paid to everyone. So this is why the market ripped. This is crazy because if you remember what happened with COVID, with the stimmy checks, literally everything went to the absolute moon. Just absolutely crazy. So this is why the market ripped. This is why crypto ripped. If this actually happens, and the odds of this happening are very slim. I mean, if we pull up Polymarket, I think the odds are very slim. Hold on. Let's see. It'd be stimulus checked. Yeah. No, that one's new government stimulus checks. Maybe it'd be like 2,000. I know people had it going. The odds were low though. The odds were very low. I had it. Will Trump create? There it is. Will Trump create a tariff dividend? Hold on. Here we go. Okay, so there's a 14% chance will Trump create a tariff dividend in 2025. Somebody posted that this is basically free money because if you bet yes, and oh wait, do you have to bet yes or no? But one of the ways you could bet, and then if you lose on Polymarket, it's because you get the 2K of the tariff dividend, so it's kind of free money. But this is why the market's ripping. Is this good for inflation? Absolutely not. This is absolutely terrible for inflation. Is it going to happen? I doubt it. But you could see here, this is why crypto absolutely ripped on Sunday. Bitcoin 1.4, Ethereum 3.4. Solana 2.8. So keep your eyes on this. If this happens, it's very, very bullish for the market. Bad for inflation, obviously. I doubt it's going to happen. So it's probably just a bunch of noise, but really an interesting thing that's going on there. Thirdly, the pound is getting pounded. So for all of the FX traders out there, one of the best trades recently has been shorting the pound, especially versus the US dollar. So what's going on fundamentally if you're trading the pound? What do you need to know? One, the Bank of England has already cut rates 3 times this year, with another one possibly coming. And 2, the autumn budget looks rough. There's a $22 billion pound hole with no real tax increases planned. So basically, the pound is just in not a good situation. Unemployment is climbing. So again, you have to ask yourself this, right? If you had $1 million to park somewhere, are you going to put that $1 million in the US or are you going to put that $1 million in the UK? I don't know why anybody would put it in the UK. Maybe you really like crumpets and tea. Maybe you really like being, overly polite. Maybe you like the rain. Maybe you really enjoy, cloudy, rainy days and you just want to be depressed and miserable all the time. Then maybe the UK is a good move. But otherwise, putting $1 million into the US just makes more sense. And that's how the market is voting with its money as well. Sean asks, yes, I think gold will hit 5K by December. That's pretty bullish. That is bullish. Gold is at $4,000 right now. Sean, would put money against you. I do not think gold is going to hit. There's no way. There's no way. Mark my words. Gold is not going to hit 5K by December. That's absolutely crazy. Something insane would have to happen, like some sort of war or something would have to break out in order for that to happen. So yeah, there's no way that's happening, in my personal opinion. Gold has continued to reap big amid the shutdown ending soon. Do you think we can hit 5K at the end of this year? Says Michelle. No, I don't think 5K by the end of this year. That's absolutely crazy. The Funded Knight says, you think BTC is likely to go back to its all-time high before 2026? No. I think Bitcoin's going up forever, but I don't think we're going to go back up to all-time highs by December. I mean, it could. It absolutely could. There's a higher chance. Let me say this. There's a higher chance of Bitcoin going up to its all-time highs before the end of the year than gold going up to 5K. Right? Gold is already up so much this year. I mean, if we actually look, it would have to go up another, what is that, 25%? This year to date, it's up 55%. So there's no way that it's going to go up that much. There's just no way. So we can see gold up 211, Bitcoin 1.5. So I bought some Bitcoin last week, 104-ish. So now I'm waiting to see what happens, keeping my eye on stocks and everything. But yeah, Bitcoin, gold. Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at the chat here. Remember, there's only 5 days left now for the buy one, get three. So if you want to stack accounts for 2026, you buy a 100K account, you'll get two 50K accounts for completely free. So that's ending on Friday. So if you guys want to take advantage of that, that is ending soon. And then this time next week, make sure you're available. Make sure you're free. We'll do our usual live stream because Lark 3.0 is coming. So there'll be huge changes for Lark 3.0. I'm very excited for that. So Sean says, off topic, I appreciate how hands-on you are with your firm. Well, I really appreciate that. That's very nice of you. Let me just scroll up a little bit. I know some of you guys asked some good questions. So let's take a look at what's going on. And let me keep the charts open here so we can all keep an eye on what's happening with that. So the Funded Knight says, can you please tell me when's the US shutdown going to end and what effects you think it will have to the market? So I think it will have a risk-on effect. I think it's just a catalyst that gets removed, a negative catalyst that gets removed once the government reopens. We're not getting some economic reports right now, which isn't helping the Fed, which isn't helping Powell. So I think it's going to help with risk on. When is it actually going to end? It looks like the government shutdown could be headed for end as Senate passes first stage of New Deal. So, procedural measure that allows other voters on the agreement to be held on Monday was approved. So, maybe soon. I think on Polymarket, the government shutdown, there was odds. When will the government shut down? There's now an 85% chance between the 12th and the 15th. So I would give it a few more days. Give it a few more days. That was the Funded Knight. So Ashley says, what is your take on Hydra funding? So she said that it's run by Cameron Foos. I know Cameron Foos. I don't know him personally. So Hydra funding. Let's pull them up. Let's see what's going on with Hydra funding. Your fastest route to crypto funding. Okay, so it's a crypto prop firm. 40% off all instant light plans. Go live instantly with a funded crypto account or prove your skills with our challenge. Okay, so it's crypto. That's cool. Nice website. First in the industry, crypto instant funding done right. Hydra is your first prop firm. Proven track record. Okay. Instant funding. Path to funding. No evaluation. Start immediately. Max drawdown 5% trailing. So that's not I mean, we have 8%, so I'll be curious to see their pricing. Profit target. One phase is 10%. Two phase is 6 and 9%. Yeah, that's interesting. I think I know what these guys are doing. Max drawdown 9% static. Consistency rule 33%. I don't like that. Minimum withdrawal 2%. Fee. Okay, so let's see. Get instant funded. Okay, so instant funding 10K is 260. 10K is 260. What are we at Lark? Let me see. The 10K is I think 400. Hold on. Instant 10K. Instant 10K, we're at 400 and they're at 260. But I mean, they've got a consistency rule and 5% and da da da. It's not quite the same. News trading, all sorts of stuff. But I think, let me hold on, give me a second here. I think these guys are a white label. I think these guys, I might have to put in my information. I don't have the patience for that, but I think they're a white label. So I think they're working with somebody who's actually like processing, like, I think they're basically just a marketing company. I'd have to put in all my information. I don't really have the patience to do that, but DX trade, yeah, I think. Oh, this is confusing. Oh my goodness, two-step. This is really confusing. Forex instant. Yeah, this is a bit confusing here. I only saw 3 on their website, so I don't know what's going on there. I think they're a white label, but it's cool that they do just crypto. I think that's kind of cool. A lot of crypto symbols, and obviously with crypto, there's so much volatility that um, you kind of have to have either higher prices or make the rules a little bit more difficult because there is such volatility. So there is great opportunity to make a lot of money, but you have to the firm has to balance that out somehow. Launching 2022. Yeah. So I think they're a white label, but I mean, probably, probably fine. Probably fine. So that's hydro funding. They have a weird minimum required profit. The Funded Knight says, honestly, whenever I see insane discounts like 40, 60%, I feel like they're not legit. Yeah, 100%. You got to stay away from those crazy discounts. Like 2024 taught us that with all the firms that went out of business. Even if you see a prop firm with a 40% discount, go to their trust pilot. Okay. Just guy, put in the chat right now, what's a prop firm that you know right now that is running a 40 or 50% discount? Put in the chat a firm that is running a 40 to 50% discounts. Hydra. Okay, is Hydra actually? Launch sale. 40% off all instant light plans. Launch sale. Okay. Aqua. Okay. Okay. So let's see. Tabitha says Aqua funded. Okay. So perfect. No problem. Aqua funded trust pilot. That's what I'm writing into Google. Aqua funded trust pilot. All right. Let's come here. Warning. The company's rating is unavailable due to a breach of guidelines. Do they even have okay, you can't even see their rating. Okay. So perfect. Point proven right there. Let's see another one. Funding traders. Okay, let's see funding traders. Funding traders Trustpilot. Funding traders Trustpilot 3.8. Right? Okay, let's see Equity Edge. Equity Edge I've never looked at their Trustpilot. Equity Edge Trustpilot. Are they running is Equity Edge 3.8? So you see my point, right? It's very simple. Now, yes, Trustpilot is not perfect, okay? I don't want you to think that we get 1-star reviews at Lark Funding, okay? Customers get angry, customers get frustrated. Trustpilot is not perfect. But as a general broad overview, I took the 3 firms that were mentioned in here that, according to you guys, are running very large discounts, pop it into Trustpilot, and you can see it's below 4. So, it's pretty obvious. So who cares? Who cares if the firm is cheap? If your yeah, QT, I see all sorts of things. Is it like Quantecal Trustpilot? QT reviews 4.6. Okay, so maybe that's a lot of reviews, 10,000. But what are the reviews like? Is it like, see, this is kind of like probably a fake review. Good, sir. See, they provide the best. Da da da. Yeah. See, that's not see, that's what I'm saying. Trustpilot's not perfect, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna say definitively that these are fake reviews. I don't know, but, you know, it's crazy. So, yeah, just remember, those huge discounts. You gotta be careful. Franklin says QT Fund is one of the trash we have with huge discounts. Yeah, so, I mean, the Trustpilot isn't reflecting that. I don't know if they're still on Quantical prop for match. I don't know if they're still on prop for match. Are they on prop for match? Yeah, so they have 4.0 stars on prop for match. That's a lot of reviews. 400. They're a pretty big firm. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I know there's a lot of complaints on Twitter, but maybe yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but it's definitely interesting. Yeah, I see a lot of Michelle says check instant funding. Many complaints. I see many complaints about instant funding too. Instant funding trust pilot 3.4. Yikes! Oh, mama. Yeah, 3.4. That's a little rough. Problems and delays never stopped with da da da. Yeah. So again, there's nothing more expensive than a cheap prop firm. There's nothing more expensive than a cheap prop firm. So we just have to keep that in mind. Taking a look back at the charts here, 1.53% on Bitcoin. S&P 0.8. We're about 8 minutes away from market open. Let's see what else we have going on in the headlines. Remember, buy one, get three. Okay, market recap. I sort of touched on this earlier, but remember, if you're new here, it's really important that you understand what's going on. Very, very simple what's going on. The markets are taking both espresso and NyQuil at the same time. The markets right now only care about rate cuts. So 3 weeks ago, Powell cut rates, but he said, we're not sure how many more are coming. So remember, rates down equals markets pump, rates up, markets dump. You got to remember that. You have to remember that. Super, super important. Okay. So before the Fed meeting, the odds of a December rate cut were 90%. After the meeting, they dropped to below 70%. And now with the October jobs report that we had last week, they're back up to 73%. So that's why we had that late rally in the market last week. Whoops. So Powell's problem: the government shutdown, now the longest in history, means no economic report. So he's flying blind with super mixed signals. So like I said, 80% of S&P 500 companies beat earnings. October, however, had the worst job cut since 2003. So is the economy healthy or cracking? Nobody knows, and that's why the market is choppy. That's a spelling error right there. So short-term traders, I think the best thing to do is to drop down timeframes and trade what's in front of you. Long-term investors, right? If you've got cash, you got to wait for those opportunities. So that's why the market's very back and forth right now. Very, very hard to decipher what's going on. Okay. The Fund Night says extremely high chances of rate cuts. I completely agree. I think for sure in December they're going to cut. There's that pressure from Trump also. The market wants it. So Sean asked, would the one step still be 10% profit target? Yes. The one step will still have a 10% profit target. Sean says, I can't wait for Lark 3.0. Lark 3.0 is going to be great. I'm very excited for it. Wouldn't it be nice if you could earn a trading salary even if you didn't make any money that month? I think that would be pretty nice. Tabitha says, what do you think keeps true innovation from the prop industry? I think every firm basically just copies every other firm. And at Lark, we did it too. We made some improvements. Like I've said, this year, the whole prop firm industry went in the direction of cheap challenges in exchange for impossible rules. And I just, as a trader, disagree with that. I would rather have higher prices, but actually have rules where you could actually make money and pass. So we fall prey to it too, right? You see everyone in the industry just copying everybody and just racing to the bottom on price. And so that's really the idea with Lark 3.0 of to bring something different. And so that's what we're going to do. So that's why we are removing the two-step challenge. If you want a two-step, everybody's got a two-step, right? We want to do something different. So that's why we're removing it. So what do you think will be the next true innovation in the industry? Tabitha asks. I think Lark 3.0 will bring features that no other firm has, and I think that's exciting. So look, it's not going to be for everybody. It's going to be expensive. Um, it's not going to be for everybody, but I think it will be for that trader that really wants to build a career in trading, and I think that's exciting. Back to this guy here. So we have Bank of America. This one was crazy. So somebody pointed this out that the stock is up 20% this year, which means it is only just now recovered from the 2008 global financial crisis. That's 16 years. 16 years that the market had to wait. Look at this. Today is officially the first day Bank of America stock has fully recovered from the global financial crisis. That's crazy. Not bad if you bought at, the lows, though. That's not bad at all. Expedia absolutely crushed earnings and popped 17%. Revenue is up. So again, it's another mixed signal of, okay, we had the worst October job cut since 2003, but people are still out here booking flights like it's the roaring 20s. Snapchat climbed 5.5% last week after announcing an AI deal, but they're still down 27% year to date. If you're over 18 years old, you shouldn't be using Snapchat. Unpopular opinion. I'm sorry, but come on. QQQ, our favorite ETF that tracks the NASDAQ, just saw a massive volume spike. So weekly volume is usually around 61 million, but last week, 82 million. So volume is heating up. Monday motivation. This Japanese day trader apparently turned $13,600 into $153 million in 8 years. So that's pretty insane. The Supreme Court said Trump needs to pay full SNAP benefits. Bitcoin closed barely above its 50-day average. So take a look at this guy. Bitcoin scores a weekly close above the 50-week moving average. So that's a good sign. Otherwise, we might be in for a bunch of pain. So that's a good sign there. Let's see. Is there an opportunity in trading copper right now? I've never traded copper before. Copper is set for a historic shortage next year. The copper market is expected to face its most severe deficit in 22 years in 2026. So if you're looking for something interesting, something crazy to trade, copper could be, maybe add copper to your watch list. And take a look at this. Here's what happened to the dollar when the Fed was in 1913. That is a loss of 99%. So you can see here, the Federal Reserve Act creates a central bank with the ability to manage the country's money supply. And then boom, just the purchasing power of the US dollar has fallen sharply over the last century due to rising inflation and money supply. We all know that, but it's cool to see the chart. Cool to see it visualized. How do prop firms make a profit? That's what everyone wants to know. I mean, I've been very outspoken on the challenge. It's a balance between, paying out traders, having the revenue from the evaluations. You could potentially monetize a trader's data. It's very difficult to do. So it's sort of, it's sort of a balance of all of those things. BTC. Michelle says, what should we expect on a 3.0? Some crazy discounts? No crazy discounts anymore for Lark 3.0. We're not competing on price anymore, so there won't be any crazy discounts. We have the buy one get three, which is great for stacking accounts right now, and we'll have something for a Black Friday, but it won't be a discount. It'll be something different. The Funded Knight says copper isn't a good liquid asset like gold or silver. That's interesting. That's good to know, actually. Yeah, then maybe it would make it not such a great trade after all. The Funded Knight says crazy how dollar has been tanking for the past few years and still at the top. Yeah, like I said in the email up here, I think with the pound, I said the US is still the least ugly economy on the dance floor, which is exactly your point of, yeah, it's crashed significantly, but Michelle says, how can we get an affiliate badge of Lark? We don't do affiliate badges. We don't really, you can become an affiliate, but we don't work with, you can just sign up to be an affiliate, but we don't really do the badges and whatnot. Yeah. Bitcoin 1.36. Let's see here. What else is going? We have beginning of the end of government shutdown. Two Cleveland Guardian pitchers indicted in alleged pitch rigging scheme, Visa and MasterCard. Okay, nothing much, honestly. The week ahead, United Nations annual climate summit begins. Who cares? Oh my goodness. Boring. All of these freaking business titans are going to be flying in on their private jets, and then they're going to tell all of us about how important climate change is. Give me a break. Who cares? Warren Buffett will release a farewell letter. The 95-year-old Oracle of Omaha is expected to release a valid, valedictory statement today. His first public address since announcing in May that he would step down. That's cool. A Berkshire spokesperson said that Buffett's letter to shareholders will cover philanthropy. Could be a vision for Berkshire. That's cool. Barron's, hold on. Warren Buffett letter comes Monday. Why it's a must read. Well, why it's a must read, and then boom, they'll block us, and you have to pay for it. Here's what's not happening. Won't be released if the shutdown persists. Everything else. Today marks the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Marines being organized under the Continental Congress. That's cool. Veterans Day. Federal holiday. Oh. Is the market closed tomorrow? For Veterans Day? Is the market closed on Veterans Day? Let's hope not. The U.S. stock market will be open. Okay. Whew. Thank goodness. Oh my goodness. That would have been, we would have had, would have had a big problem there. Do prop firms copy traders who are like extremely good with trading? The Fun Tonight asks. I can't speak for other prop firms, but in the past, yes, we have monetized the data of really successful traders. It happens quite rarely, but yes. Kaz says congrats for hitting 20K subs. I really appreciate that. That's very kind of you. The latest video that I posted yesterday did quite well. If here. The math behind profitable prop firm trading. So if you guys want to check that one out, I put as the pinned comment. Fun fact about me: almost every morning, if you haven't been doing these live streams, we have a fun fact about me. Fun fact about me: I am in my 20s, but I love water park. I don't know, if that's, like rated roller coaster water time. And so my wife said she doesn't like them so much. So she said, you know what? When you hit 25K, we'll go to the water park. So if you're watching this, you're not subscribed, you guys gotta help me out here. So, we're at 20K, so we got 5K to go before we can hit the water slides. Roller coasters, no good. Roller coasters, I'll be sick. Roller coasters, I'll be sick in, 5 minutes. I've got a weak stomach. But, yeah, water parks are a good time, and I'm in Canada, so it's, like, freezing. We got a huge snowstorm here. There's there's no it's cold here, so there's one that's indoor, so maybe we'll do that, but we gotta get another 5K subscribers, so I think my wife secretly thinks it's not gonna happen. The prop firms copy traders, we looked at that one. Watch it. Oh, I appreciate you guys watching it. We've got some more good ones coming up. Let me see what we have coming up on the calendar for more videos. Nothing scheduled yet, but filmed some other good ones. I filmed one of how much money do prop firm owners really make. So that one will be good. I filmed another reaction video of this guy who broke down like prop firm math and whatnot, and I kind of really disagreed with him. So we've got another reaction video coming. So if there's any videos that you guys would like to see, drop them in the chat. Sean says, have you ever been to the Caribbean islands? I have not been to the Caribbean islands. I've been to the Dominican Republic and I've been to Cuba, but I haven't been to the Caribbean. Michelle says, recommend a book for me. What have I been reading? I've been reading, this is not trading related, this is like a history book. I've been reading this book like twice now. Very random. It's such a fun book, though. I really like I said, I'm Canadian, but I really like U.S. history. And this book's really fun because it's short chapters of each president, and it shows like sort of behind the scenes. Like it talks about, what did Benjamin Franklin, eat for, or what did George Washington eat for breakfast, right? What did, Teddy Roosevelt eat for breakfast? That kind of, fun stuff. So I've been reading that twice. I'm looking over at my bookshelf. Any good? I don't read trading books. I read recently. I've read a bunch of different business books. My dad just finished reading The Art of Spending Money, which just came out, which I really like this author, Morgan Housel. I've read, he has The Psychology of Money, which I've read, which is a very good book. And he has Same as Ever. So he's a good author. I've read his. Somebody, Michelle says, off the charts and running a prop firm. What do you do in Ontario? I'm actually in Quebec. I'm not in Ontario. I'm in Quebec. I mean, it's like snow here. It's crazy that we got tons of snow. It's freaking November 10th. What do I do? I don't know. I live a pretty quiet life, to be honest. I I like to golf. I like to golf, actually. That's something that I like to do. I like to golf. I like to work. I like to look at the charts. So yeah, The Art of Spending Money. I haven't read this one, but it's had good reviews. So the Funded Knight says, will Lark 3.0 also have instant funding? Yeah, the instant funding program is not changing. So we'll still have the three-step, the instant, and three-step, the instant, and the one-step. And the huge changes are coming to the one-step. Kaz, what do you think the reason people move on to business from trading? I think if you want to be a great trader, you can't rely on your trading income. I think it makes a huge difference. If you're a full-time trader, but the only source of income you're making is from trading, it's very stressful because unless you have $1 million of capital under your belt and you only have to make, 0.1% a month to cover your bills, it's very stressful. So I don't think people necessarily just move on from trading and go into business. I think people expand into business while still doing trading. And that's kind of the pivot that I've made of, taking fewer shorter term trades and focusing more on, long term investments. And that's kind of the playbook I've always said with prop firms. That's what I did. Of you pass your challenges, you earn payouts, and then you take that money and you invest it into the market. And so I think from an emotional standpoint, just not relying, having to rely on your trading income can make a huge, huge difference. Thomas says we have summer in South Africa right now. Yeah, I'm very jealous. I'm very, very jealous. Sean says you are the most chilled prop firm owner I've come across. Well, that's very kind of you, Sean. Thank you. Um, Maybe I should be less chill. Maybe I should, go crazy. I don't know. Michelle says, can I apply work permit through Lark and live in Canada? We're not hiring, so no. Sorry to break it to you, but I don't know how it works. I mean, Canada, we basically almost open borders here. We let pretty much anyone in. So, if there was a Canadian company that I guess it depends where you live, but yeah, we let pretty much anyone in. So I don't think it's that difficult. If you want to be like super rich, you need to be doing business. I feel like if you want to be super rich, you have to have leverage. It all comes down to leverage. So leverage can come in many forms. Leverage could come in the form of human capital. So you can have a bunch of employees. That's leverage. Media is great for leverage, right? I can make one YouTube video, but 2,000 people can see it. So that's leverage. Um, and then leverage is investing, right? So if I have $100 and I put it into the stock market, that's leverage. So yeah, you 100% need leverage to make money. It doesn't necessarily have to be business, right? Look at Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett just invested in great companies. So Michelle says you have a Gen Z vibe. Which generation is Gen Z and Z age range? I'm not good with these. As 20 Gen Z members are between the ages of 13 and 28. Okay. So yeah, that's me. I'm born in 1999. So yeah, so I guess I am Gen Z. I think the Gen Z vibe is lazy, so I don't know if that's good. I think Gen Z is super lazy. So, uh, in Thomas says, is Lark available in Swaziland? Just in case, yeah, we have no restrictions on Swaziland. To be honest, I guess I'm not very educated. I have never heard of Swaziland. So Swaziland must be a small country. Southern Africa. Former known flag. Ah, okay. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, we don't have any restrictions on that country that I'm aware of. How about Japan? 1999. You're lying, Sean. Yeah, must look much older. You know, I'm half bald, so yeah, I must look much older. All that stress of running a business and trading. I mean, it ages you quick. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Fun tonight. He's definitely no. I don't think he's saying Switzerland because Swaziland looks like a real place. You must come from a solid background. I mean, yeah, I don't know how to answer that one. Solid background. Yeah, I have great parents, but yeah, nobody gave me a dollar. I mean, I had a great upbringing, but yeah, nobody. I started like most people with $0. Started working at 15 years old, minimum wage, which was 10.75 an hour. I worked at the Gap folding pants, so yeah, 10.75 an hour. Um, Fun Night says I trust Lark Funding a lot because you're like super transparent. Well, I really appreciate that. Kaz says, "How about Japan? What specifically about Japan? We don't have any restrictions on Japan. We have lots of traders from Japan, actually, which is really cool. The Fun and Night says, why do you even have restrictions on certain countries? Usually for money laundering purposes. Is just unfortunately some countries raise red flags. Uh, you can see here, Lark Funding is not available in the following countries: Iran, North Korea, Myanmar. So yeah, that's what's going on there. It's just the way that it is. Hold on. Let me. You guys don't want to see this bloody ad. That's not what I mean. You don't look old. I'm just shocked to know someone so young is operating a prop firm so well. Well, that's nice, Sean. I definitely do look maybe old. Maybe you're being polite, but yeah, I mean, been running it since 2022. So I was June. So I was 23 when we started the company. So I mean, yeah, it's been over 3 years now, which is cool. Can a forex trader use their statement and proof of withdrawals to get jobs at private equity firms, big banks, etc., or is there something else needed to get jobs there? I doubt you can use. I highly doubt you can use prop firm payouts or proof of withdrawals to work at a private equity firm. I have a cousin who was working at KPMG in finance, and they care about. It's unfortunate, but they care about your credentials. They care about your college degree. They care about your university. So yeah, I highly doubt it. Michelle says, "Will Lark open a broker in the future?" No plans to open a broker. A lot of people are asking for futures, but again, I like to stay in our lane. I know what we do well, so I think it's best that we just keep doing what we're doing. Bring out Lark 3.0 next week, a week today, and we'll just go from there. I think it's good to do one thing great and not just expand into a whole bunch of different things. What do you think is the main reason for most traders losing prop firm challenges? Well, 25% of traders fail because they hit the 5% daily loss limit. So if you want to just automatically do something that's super, super easy, don't hit the daily loss limit, which is very easy. Don't lose 5% in a single day. 25% of traders that do that. The rest, for the most part, hit the max drawdown. Um, I think from what we've seen and from my personal experience, it comes down to, yes, poor risk management. You have to use a risk of ruin calculator. A risk of ruin calculator is so important. Let me pull that up. Let me make sure I get the right one. Sometimes they're not great. I think this one's pretty good. So if you do risk per trade of 1%, right? Let's say your max drawdown is 10%, right? You're going to do a two-step challenge. You have a 60% win rate with a risk to reward ratio of 1 to 1. Over 100 trades, your risk of ruin, of reaching 30% draw, starting equity, probability of reaching 30%, output can vary, risk of peak to valley drawdown. Yeah, so your risk of ruin is 1%. Okay, so this is great. This is if you have a 60% win rate, you risk 1% per trade, and your max drawdown's 10%. But what if you go on a one-step challenge with 6% drawdown, right? And now raise to 6.5%. And you might think, oh, 60% win rate, 1-to-1 risk reward, not that great. It's actually very good, right? This is like very, very solid numbers. 55%, right? It increases your risk of ruin to 22.5%. So you need to understand this because, okay, that means, you've got a 1 in 5 chance of failing. But if you drop your risk down in half, you can now see your risk of ruin is 3.9%. So it comes down to poor risk management, and then also just really emotional trading. Emotions in the sense of it's all about the law of large numbers. It's all about letting your edge play out. If you're somebody who after 4 trades starts messing with their strategy, 5 trades, 6 trades, 7 losses, whatever, I've been there, and you start messing with your strategy, it's game over. You're not gonna make it. You have to stick with the same strategy no matter what. And I think that makes a huge, huge difference. So, risk management and emotions is vague. I mean, emotions specifically that lead to you changing your strategy. So I think that's why most traders fail. Thank you for the compliment, the fun tonight. That's very nice of you. Gazzy, anyone who has scaled his account up to max at Lark, and if not, what can be the reason? Yeah, so originally before Lark 2.0, our max allocation was 600K. And I don't think we had anyone hit the full 600K at the same time. There's people that, had, 300K and then bridged an account and then got, another 300K eventually. I don't think they were at 600K at the same time. Now it's 200K. And yeah, we have some traders that are at 200K in funding. We have many traders actually. So yes. And if not, what can be the reason? I think the reason for why traders don't hit max funding is, I mean, challenges are hard, and it comes down to what I said of, you know, the daily loss limit. 25% of traders are hitting that. Trading's difficult, and I just think people don't have as much patience as they ultimately need to have. Kaz says, I learned about risk of ruin on your video. Really helpful. Really happy to hear that. This calculator alone will help you improve more than 99% of paid courses out there. Um, it's so helpful. And speaking of paid courses, free courses sounds a lot better than paid courses. So we have the free Pip Munch community here. I am going to accept these 52 membership requests right now. I'll drop the link in the chat, but we have the first week for free. And it's literally everything that I know about trading of passing prop firm challenges. The rest of the weeks are for traders who purchase a Lark challenge. But if you come here, you could see there's like hours of content in here. You can see each one has a video. So I don't know what I was doing at the time. I had no life. I was just filming all of these videos. It's crazy. So each one has a video. So this is like a better course than I ever paid for. But let me drop the link in the chat for the um, for the free one. You guys can get the first week for free. And I need to do better at accepting all of those membership requests. So let me drop this here. So that's that. And now there's 52 requests of people waiting as long, oh my goodness, 10 days ago they requested. So let me accept all of these requests here. 40 to go. Give me a moment. Let me drink my coffee. 30. So if you guys join that today, I'll do my best to accept your request. And if I don't, you can meet me tomorrow on the live stream and you can give me some crap. Say, hey, let me into the group. Hold on, halfway through. 11, 10, 9, 8. Don't want people to be upset with me here. Okay, perfect. Everyone's in. So I dropped that in the chat so you guys can join that. So that should be a good time. The Fun Tonight says buying a course is usually you can find the paid content for free. Yeah, 100%. I made a video about this of, I spent 10K on Forex courses. What did I learn? And this guy right here. This guy here I spent 10K on Forex courses. This is what I learned. So yeah, you absolutely do not need to pay for a course. So that's that. Do you guys have more questions? I mean, we've been going for 49 minutes. I've got a meeting about Lark 3.0 in 11 minutes at 10 a.m. But if you guys have more questions, we can cover that. I need to get some better live streaming equipment. So if I blacked out today or anything, I apologize. I do need to get some better equipment. We're seeing a little bit of a sell-off here actually in Bitcoin. If I just pull that up quickly, um, 4.9% drop. So yeah, back down to 105. So that's interesting. Thomas said, Matt, you promised me an account last week for being always active here, even though I never made the top three. Didn't you win on Friday, Thomas? Who won on Friday? I thought you won on Friday, Thomas. The Fun Tonight says, do you think the pound USD is going to continue its dump, or is there major news that could change the GBP? I think pound US is going down. I think the pound is going to go down versus the US dollar. Not financial advice. Don't don't sue me if you take that trade and it doesn't work. But I think fundamentally, pound US over the next several months is going down. What is your recommendation on managing multiple funded accounts? I do swing trading. I think there's some good trade copiers out there. I've never used a trade copier myself. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the names of the good ones. But yeah, a trade copier would be pretty solid. Tabitha, appreciate you saying that you like the Michelle. I'm so confused. My network was lagging. Michelle says you promised me, Matt. Who won on? Somebody won on Friday. The Fun and Night says, "Don't prop firms ban you for using copy traders? Maybe the bad prop firms, but we allow copy traders." Naru won. Okay, so I do remember, Thomas. I absolutely remember me saying that you were going to win an account. I thought you won it on Friday, but Michelle says Naru won, which I think is accurate. So Thomas, you win the account today. Congratulations, and everyone free. Never promising. Yeah, I know. I need to stop promising accounts. But yeah. So Thomas, you've been very engaged. You have some good questions today. So Thomas, you win the account. And Michelle, I believe you won an account last week, which doesn't mean you can't win again. The Fun Tonight, you're also very, very engaged. I can't promise everyone an account, but I know who's here. I know who's here every day, so I'll make sure that that we're fair and everyone gets their chance. But Thomas, congrats. Michelle, you've never won? Interesting. Okay. So Michelle, maybe make sure you're here tomorrow. But yeah, congrats, Thomas. Email us support@larkfunding.com with just proof of, your YouTube account, and we'll get that account sent out today for you guys. Overall, a little bit of a drop in Bitcoin here, giving back some of the losses. So it could be an interesting day. S&P is up. The market's now open. So we'll see what happens. Football market, appreciate the kind comment. I really appreciate you guys being here. I mean, we had as low as like 5 people here at once, but I still really enjoy doing it. So I appreciate you guys being here. We will be back tomorrow. I won't be here Wednesday, but Tuesday, Thursday, Friday shouldn't be a problem. I'll be here. So I appreciate you guys being here. Keep an eye on the markets, and I'll see you all tomorrow morning. Have a great day, guys. All the best. Peace.